like, and I think a lot of us are
Schulz
sleeping.
feel like he passed him.
I think
For sure.
I think Schulz is shitting on him. Like it's probably.
Oh shit! Hold on.
It might be like 42. Goodness.
Go ahead.
Just killed the whole vibe.
Sorry.
It might be probably 42,000, maybe around 42,000 people in that Patreon.
Okay.
JDP.
And Joe Budden's.
I was gonna say 50.
I think possibly now.
You said 42. You can say 50
because of the Drake package.
Okay,
we
yeah.
might as well round up.
It's a hell of a stimulus.
But like outside of those like inflated numbers, like Schulz is just probably shitting.
But
on
you think in general, Andrew Schulz has definitely surpassed. You're just
Joe
talking about in Joe Budden.
Oh, if
just
that's what
overall
you want to.
success.
Oh, for sure.
I
we're just
met a
talking about
flagrant
success,
listener
right?
when I was in Texas.
Oh, you talking about success?
Are you talking about success? Or are you talking about quality of
If you
like,
want to talk
experience?
if you want to talk about just overall entertainment,
That's what I'm talking about.
Andrew Schulz.
you can't defeat a paid comedian.
Andrew Schulz.
He
What?
has, bro. You
Andrew
think
Schulz.
that Joe Budden could possibly be more entertaining than the nigga who gets paid for their expectation for fun?
Nah.
Yes, and the
Joe
reason
Budden
that-
could
no,
be
no, no.
funny and interesting, but that's kind of a side effect.
Exactly.
This nigga gets paid to entertain people. Like they're coming there to laugh.
Listen. This hold
That's
on.
a
hold
different
on.
expectation.
Exact. I get all that, nigga. But listen to what I'm saying. I think Patrice O'Neal is one of the rare comedy people that we could hear on the radio 5 days a week, and he never got less funny. How many people can you name right now that you believe you can listen to 3 to 5 times every single week for 8 to 10 years and find funny every single time, or 80 to 90% funny majority of the time, and they not feel like they're getting watered down?
I feel like
can
if
name-
Changing you think Andrew Schulz is on that level of hilarious to
I
where
feel like if you genuinely funny, the more you doing it, the better that you getting.
Yeah.
Literally, there was points in times throughout the week where we would record LOY the show on Sunday,
Yeah.
come to Homeroom, and then on Tuesday we did this shit 3 days in a row.
3 times, yeah.
Like everything we say is effortless now.
right?
We just did this shit for hours. You put in reps.
And then we would go to TDS.
It's not like you're getting tired. It's not like there's a fatigue to it. It just keeps improving.
But even like just more so on the intention of what they're doing. Like
What's the
what Joe
intention?
Budden is doing it for is completely different. Like the why is completely different. Like Andrew is doing it
Andrew's wise what?
for comedy, laughter,
Okay.
love.
Which is the highest form of entertainment.
You know what I mean? All that shit.
Okay.
You get
And
what I'm saying?
then
So
Joe's
it's
doing it for
You can watch
Joe.
The artistry, he would say.
The artistry is what he would say,
but what is he really
paving
doing it for?
And for paving new lanes, and he's saying he's doing it for the artists and the creatives.
it's a different level of expectation for the entertainment.
I still want to hear you explain to me. I still want you to list like 3 to 5 comedians that you can listen to 3 to 5 times a week and feel like they never fall off.
Any of them I find enjoyable.
So name them, nigga. I'm
Dave-
stop saying that.
Dave Chappelle,
name 'em.
Patrice O'Neal, fucking Andrew Schulz.
But you don't listen to Andrew Schulz 3 to 5 times a week now.
Because I'm not gonna pay for the Patreon.
So he's not that funny.
Right.
No,
The fuck? That's the point.
No, that's indicative of my bank account.
But you're not waking up every day looking for new YouTube
Yeah.
clips from the nigga 3 to 5 times a week.
But every time that flagrant drop, I'll watch it. And when they drop twice a week,
Once a
I'll
week,
watch it.
twice a week. I'm talking about a nigga doing it 3-4 times a
Yeah.
week, maybe 5. Like I said, this is a rare
Is
skill
that
set
how
of person.
often they're doing it?
Yeah, they're doing it. Well, they're recording that much and dropping that much. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're
The
recording
Joe-
like
Joe
3
Budden
times a week.
is.
Yeah, they're
And
recording like
Joe
3 times a
Budden
week.
is
Joe
like
Budden is.
Andrew Schulz.
I think, what is it, 2 a week or something?
I think
Plus
Joe
the
Budden?
main show. No, Schultz, flagrant.
Schulz. Oh yeah,
I think
it's
it
like
might
2
be
weeks
twice a week and
plus the main.
and the weekly show, so
I
3
believe
times a
so.
week. But this is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You wouldn't
This is
listen
what
to
I'm saying.
Star.
Patrice O'Neal is so, yes, these are rare talents. These are people we don't get every generation. We get Patrice O'Neal was such a good stand-up comedian that he can get on the radio and do a 2-hour show with Opie and Anthony for 2-3 hours, not run out of shit, consistently be funny. But we don't get Patrice O'Neal's but every 10, 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But
we
there's
get Dave Chappelle. There's hundreds of comedians. None of them are like Dave Chappelle. There's like, how many of these niggas, Andrew Schulz, you can get the niggas content for free. You can find enough Andrew Schulz content to entertain yourself 3 to 5 times a week, like church. And you're not doing it
Religiously.
for free.
You could do that on catalog.
But you're not doing it now. But people are doing
I don't have that kind of time.
I hear a lot of
To be listening
excuses.
to
I hear a
one
lot of
dude,
excuses.
but
To
people
be
are
listening
doing
to one dude.
Bruh.
And the reason I
But-
say,
but
this is the
people are
reason I
doing
say, the fact that you're saying, yes, we can say comedy is the highest form of entertainment. I don't think there's enough niggas, period, in the world that are funny enough that'll have me locked in 3 to 5 days a week at 2
Chappelle
hours
would
at
do
a
it.
time.
Chappelle would do it.
If he did it, but he wouldn't.
Right.
The nigga's so rare.
But
But you
don't
acting
even
like
get
it's-
that choice from him.
The thing is, you're acting like it's impossible, which it isn't, and people do find Schulz that funny.
Bill
But
Burr
it's-
would do
there
it.
is people who find him that entertaining.
But
There's
it's also-
82,000 people on the Patreon for a reason.
It's also like, what are you going for? Like, you seem like you're not going for comedy. You're going for like specific reasons. Maybe
I think more
like
people
what's
are buying.
happening
I
that
think
week.
more people are buying in on that dedicated level of frequency. I don't think comedy's that genre. I don't think comedy is a genre that people are buying in for 5 days a week at a higher
Tim
level.
Dillon is-
At a higher level than somebody like Joe Budden, who is doing like trending stories. He can be funny as fuck to you as well
Yeah.
too. So you, yeah, but
He
some
is.
people
He
he's
is.
hilarious.
He
Some
is.
people he's not. But long story short, it's different from getting the news and something regular. I'm getting a different value outside of just general funny. I'm getting like informative news. I'm getting different levels of conversation than just going here, whether it be knee slapper day or just shooting the shit day or joke day. It's like I can hit you at every level and I can still sprinkle comedy in all those levels if I wanted to.
It's plenty of podcasts though. Like comedians. Like it's Tim Dillon, Shane Gillis. It's like Theo Von. Like
Right.
it's a bunch of different niggas.
True.
It's
But there's
And
They
pushback
Exactly.
to
can
that.
hold a mic for 5 days in a row.
Yeah, there's
Theo
pushback
Von,
to
Keep
that.
it hot.
Theo Von is one that I
Yeah,
think
It's a
could
few
do
of
5
them that
days a
can
week.
do it.
Comedy's still one of the highest tiers.
It is the
one of the
highest
highest
tier.
tiers. So it
And
just
I
has, it
still
just
have-
has to be good.
Right, but there
Yeah.
ain't that many people. There ain't that many niggas who can do it.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that
Actually,
it
no.
can't happen.
and like
Of course, obviously.
comedy is actually in like a quote unquote golden age right
Yeah,
now.
it's great
So
right
it's
now,
actually
yeah.
a lot of
It is.
niggas
That are funny,
It's a
yeah.
lot of niggas
Yeah.
that can
I
completely.
just hear a lot and not enough
But
names.
Schulz is
We
in
gave
a-
you names, you just don't
Yeah, but
accept the
they're
names.
they're not on Chappelle level like that you kind of need to be. And the thing is,
Need to be?
Well, if you want to talk about what we're talking about, you need to be really, really funny to
So
to,
what
to
is
hold
so
somebody
Joe
up.
Budden is Dave Chappelle on his side?
No.
And on the well, yeah. If you're
Yes.
talking about
Fuck outta here.
if you're talking about the game of podcasting,
But
and the way
that's
he's
like
doing it,
depends on what
that's
you
like saying
mean.
Oscar Robertson is the best player and it's 1960. Like nigga, can we get to 2000 yet? Like it's still like shit hasn't even developed for that long. He's the Dave Chappelle.
a podcast.
podcast.
He's been doing this for a while.
Condom, bro.
He's
Yes.
up there.
Kinda, bro.
but-
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
bro.
Wait,
Yeah.
hold on. What does it mean to be the Dave
That's
Chappelle
what I'm-
I don't
podcast?
even know. I don't
Is
know
that like
where-
being
I
the
don't-
Michael Jordan of basketball?
Yeah,
Like
pretty
what-
much.
what do
little
we
bit,
say?
He's
yeah.
the MJ of the time. So let's
So
not
he's
use
the
Dave
greatest
Chappelle.
of all time?
Not the greatest.
Is that-
of all time. He's playing.
So the fact that we have to think about it and kind of like
He's the
connect
best
it
right
while
now.
the
He's the
fight-
best. Period.
kinda- yeah,
he's
he's
the
kinda
best
the
right
best,
now.
bro.
just because he's
He's the
bald
Drake
and-
of the podcast.
Yeah, low-key.
That's what it is. Like Drake is Drake of music. Joe is Drake
Objective.
of podcast.
podcasting.
That's kind of true.
Who's
Nick-
better?
Who's better?
Well-rounded overall. Podcasting every week.
We
I'm
sound so
listening-
ignorant right now.
listening
I'm
to
viewers.
Andrew
I'm
Schulz.
sorry.
Yeah, this
Because
is
we
crazy.
like nigga Joe Budden. Don't get me wrong, he's amazing. But there's like white
Give
dudes
me
who are
the
like.
name.
First of all, Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis podcast.
You was just talking about Tim
is
Dillon.
fucking hard.
Okay.
Tim Dillon doesn't have any guests. He talks shit for an hour.
Okay.
Hard.
By himself.
By himself. His shit is hard.
Okay.
It's Theo Von. It's
Put Andrew in
I
there.
don't even like. I listen to Joey Diaz not like often, but Joey
Yeah,
Diaz is.
I don't
It's
know.
like whatever.
Joe Rogan.
Whatever. Joe Rogan. But I
Joe
wasn't.
Rogan.
That's cheat. That's a cheat code.
Okay.
I'm not
yeah.
even going to say
Okay,
that.
yeah, because Joe Rogan will be the Dave Chappelle.
That's a cheat
If we
code.
were gonna
Right.
put
Yeah.
Like,
if
if we're
you
gonna
wanna
say
be honest,
Joe Rogan will put the J.
That's true.
I guess,
If we're gonna
Michael
and I
Jordan
guess I'm
go.
also still thinking black media as well.
That's
too.
what I
Right.
mean. Like we
Yeah.
got to get. It's more. It's
I
not
know
just
it's
us.
out there.
It's not just us.
But this is nigga week though. Like this is all this news. All this news is all black media. White
We talk
folks,
about
they don't
Schulz,
really-
too,
Joe
though.
Budden is
Yeah, we were talking about
definitely.
Schulz.
We
Joe
talk about
Budden.
Rory.
Joe Budden is a legend, but as far as like entertainment and like skill, there will never be a point where he reaches
Never.
Schultz level just because
I
of
don't know
like.
about that. That's crazy.
No,
That's
that's
crazy.
crazy.
That's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
That's crazy.
Job.
Because
That's
of his
crazy.
job.
job. If you had 30
That sounds
people,
crazy.
if you had 30 people in the room,
No,
and you, no,
okay.
listen.
Oh, go ahead,
if
go
you
ahead.
had 30 people in the room and you had to choose between Andrew Schulz entertaining these niggas for hours or Joe Budden doing it, who are you gonna pay?
In a room? What is this? A stand-up
Yeah,
room? I'm
Don't
picking
do that.
Schulz.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
You have to entertain a mass amount of people.
But there's no
Who
point.
can you count on?
First of all, there's no point of us giving some
do you-
hypothetical when we can just say if there's a podcast,
AJ.
we can use
Yeah.
what
Well,
we're talking
we could
about.
say there's a Patreon.
Let's just
There's
say
one
that.
with 82,000 niggas
Yeah.
and one with an estimated 50,000
But
after
AJ,
the paid stimulus package.
Who would you choose to entertain?
Why are we using a hypothetical when we're talking
Right.
about
Why don't you answer
podcasting?
the question?
Because it doesn't. Because if you say stand-up, a room.
Nobody said stand up.
No.
A room.
But you
live.
niggas- but
you
okay,
see-
okay,
no, the
that's
reason-
fine.
the point-
In a
the
room-
point-
hold on,
in a-
hold on, hold on.
No,
The
no.
reason- the point
In
we're
a
trying
room
to
live,
make-
I'll pick Schulz because I think he's better live in person
No,
if I'm standing in
the
a room.
reason why that makes sense is because the whole context of this conversation is not based on one specific thing.
Yes,
it's
it
just
is.
based on.
Yes, we
it's
are.
based
We're
on-
only
based on-
talking about
It's based
podcasting.
on. No,
Which
we
is
were
y'all
Y'all
talking.
keep
entertainment.
bringing comedy into this.
Which
No.
is entertainment. Podcasting is entertainment.
Podcasting is entertainment.
The highest form of entertainment is comedy because you have the hardest expectations.
Exactly.
You literally have an involuntary reaction when you do it. You can listen to Joe Budden and be like, I like this, it's cool. But when somebody makes you spasm, nigga,
Okay, so this is what
That
I'm
happens
hearing
all the time on a joke.
So
Yeah,
this is
that's
what
hilarious.
So this is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing
It's different.
No matter how great of a podcaster I am, if I don't have comedy as my background, I can't be the GOAT. That's
Right.
what I'm
It's-
hearing.
it's almost like
Is that
this.
what you're saying?
It's-
That's pretty much
That's
what you're
true.
saying.
That's what you're saying.
You're pretty much saying, I don't give a fuck how good you are on the mic. Oprah,
No.
she's not a stand-up comic. She can't be the greatest entertainer.
put it
Is
this
that
way.
what we're saying?
That's what
You
sounds
do,
like.
it takes both. Because if you're a
Exactly.
You
comedian,
can't take both.
if you're a comedian and you aren't as articulate as Joe Budden and you can't even express this shit in like natural conversation form,
Yes.
then you're gonna lose that battle. But if you have the comedy and you have that, you're gonna beat a nigga who just has
So
this.
what are the
Exactly.
factors that? What are the
every single
factors?
time?
So pretty much what you're saying is you can't actually be the greatest of all time if comedy is not your background.
That's what I'm saying. What are the factors
That sounds crazy.
that Schulz has over Joe? Is it just comedy?
In
Is that the only thing
podcasting-
he's
That's
better
all
at?
it sounds like. It's comedy.
Is that the only thing he's better at?
What it is a prerequisite to the game.
That sounds crazy.
And the thing is,
Let's just talk about Oprah.
The thing-
she
Yeah.
wasn't up there cracking
Podcasts-
jokes.
Nah.
She ran the world.
Facts.
podcasts are so diverse that we do have to ask,
She don't even got
what
a
do you
podcast.
watch for?
She probably has a podcast.
She probably, but that's
Probably.
not true,
Well,
nigga.
yeah,
Super Soul
probably.
Sundays.
On the own
Yeah,
network,
yeah,
on the
yeah.
app. Come on,
Hey,
nigga.
But
On
it's,
the own
it's
app.
from her putting that fucking work
Fuck.
in. Though.
She definitely
But
has a podcast.
She has to.
That
But
comes out every Sunday religiously.
Oprah, like,
I
come
told you,
on.
Super Soul Sundays.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah. Episode. So we're telling, and we know Oprah's the greatest, one of the greatest female entertainers of all time.
Yeah.
Because she's not a stand-up
No,
comedian.
no, she's
She
not the
can't be
greatest.
the greatest.
She is not the greatest female entertainer.
She's
of
one
all
of them.
time.
I said one of them.
One of.
Do you think it's disrespectful to Oprah to classify her as just an entertainer?
That's a part of what she did, bro.
Hold on.
Oprah's a
First of-
fucking journalist, my nigga.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Whatever. You're trying to just attach this other shit to it.
No, don't minimize the
that.
black
I'm
woman,
not-
nigga.
Michael
okay.
Jackson's an
is wrong with
entertainer,
you?
nigga.
I like how y'all
Oprah
team up when
is a
when
businesswoman.
it start falling apart. Y'all became a unit
There's
all of a
nothing
sudden.
falling apart.
Yeah, it's
There's
falling
nothing
apart a little
falling
bit.
It's falling apart when y'all became a unit.
You would rather listen to an interesting conversation than laugh.
Yes, I'm always okay to
No.
laugh. I'm always open to laugh. But you can't say a nigga having comedy as a background means he's gonna be automatic if we're talking over whatever it takes to be
You
the
wanna
best
know what it
podcast.
is? You wanna know what it
Go
is?
ahead,
Hold
go ahead. But I
on.
just thought of it.
It might be like how just Kyrie had a broken
I was
rim.
literally just about to say this.
Kyrie had a broken rim when he was hooping when he was 5. So it's just a thing he adapted to. So it's like
Even hold on, even
What's
more so,
happening?
Michael
even
Jordan
even
did it.
more
What's
so,
happening?
Let me explain it. Comedy is like being an elite athlete. You can be a great basketball player, Luka Doncic, who doesn't get off the ground very high. But if you are great at basketball and you're one of the elite athletes like Michael Jordan level, you could be one of the greatest of all time.
So you don't
Comedy
think?
is just athleticism.
So you don't think podcasting you can be a Michael Jordan of? You can't be the greatest in that too.
Unless
Did you hear what I just said?
I did, but you're saying it has to be. You're saying that the mechanism for that greatness is comedy. You're saying
No,
that comedy
no,
is the.
no.
You're saying that
Okay,
comedy
let me
is the
slow down.
athleticism.
You're making-
you need.
you're-
You're
let
saying
me-
that-
let me
you-
say it again. Let
You're
me
saying
say it
you
again.
have to be in order to
Let me
be
say it again.
LeBron. You have to have the comedy. That's what you're saying.
Okay, so
In order to be LeBron, Luka is LeBron without the athleticism.
That's what I just
all
said.
he
And you're
is.
saying the comedy's athleticism.
Who's better?
So in order to be LeBron, you got to get the comedy. That's what you just said.
You have
I'm
to-
saying that's not
there-
true.
There is no professional athlete who isn't also an elite athlete and has elite skill.
what?
there's something missing.
There's comedy on Joe Budden podcast as well. So he has the more well-rounded skill overall. He can do everything. He's doing the LeBron thing. He's giving the assist. He's shooting the jump shots, and he's actually.
I might have another example that might be better. So it's almost like, let's say like bodybuilders, right? You're telling me that like the bodybuilder that takes steroids, as just because he takes steroids, no matter what, he's gonna win. He'll always be the best, even though there's like a natural nigga who look. I don't even know if that's the right.
I know what you're trying
analogy.
to say. I know what you're trying to say.
But long story short, everything you're saying.
If you competing with a nigga on steroids, it's an uphill battle.
Right. So all it's sounding like is that it doesn't matter if we strip the comedy away and we rank two people at podcasting at the same exact entertainment level. If we're just ranking whatever the tiers of podcasting are.
But why would you do that?
It's like
by several levels.
Why would you take away LeBron James' vertical?
But let me just explain to you how you're placing comedy. If two people are on the same exact level, the fact that one does stand up, that means they're automatically going to beat the other person.
What it is.
That's what it sounds like you're saying.
What it is. It's like with fighting, right?
Okay.
This is the third sport. We're trying to use to explain this.
It's the easiest way. Like, let's say with MMA, right?
I feel like the best.
If you have a nigga that used to wrestle when he was little, he's most likely gonna be a champion before the nigga who just did karate. Now they both did they were both in the same field, but one just had that
edge.
That shit that just give you that edge. And that's what comedy is. It's that wrestling. Nigga. It's that down and dirty. It's
there's niggas I played against that aren't better than me, but they just so much more athletic that it's almost nothing I can do about it.
They're better than you. It doesn't give a. So that means
because technical skill. Because Kyrie Irving.
But they beat you. They're beating you. If they're beating you though,
Kyrie Irving is better at basketball than Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose would be a problem for Kyrie Irving. Just based off the fact that I can't get up there with you.
I don't know about
So it don't matter if you can all this shit.
I don't know about that.
I can't even meet you
It's
up
not
there.
a good comparison.
But
Kyrie
who did you say? Luka Doncic, right? He doesn't have like the flair. It's fundamental
He
basketball.
doesn't have the athleticism, but he's nasty at basketball.
So because
he does everything LeBron can do, he shoots a little bit better. He just doesn't jump as high.
Exactly. So because LeBron has comedy.
Right.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic is out here winning the championship though.
What championship did Luka Doncic win?
I'm just saying.
But he's saying that.
Just say that.
Okay, well, Steph Curry's winning the championship, nigga. Whatever. That's what he's saying.
I'm just saying, just because you have that flavor on there, don't mean you can't lose.
I just feel like if we was to write this down, as in terms of like, all right, fucking
metrics or something,
like as in terms of metrics, like comedy.
Yeah, in terms of podcasting,
conversation,
comedy, conversations, delivery. Vocabulary, like these are
staying on track, keeping the topic,
yeah,
keeping the
these
flow,
will all be
flexing the flow,
yeah,
like
flexibility,
being able to jump it, all of that shit matters.
All of that
and even just the range of like knowledge that you have that you can just distribute.
There's
overall
gonna be
listenability, like all that shit.
Joe Budden is gonna probably win in like.
That's all I'm saying.
No, nigga.
I'm sorry, you're right. I should have let you finish.
In the fucking keeping on track department.
That's the only one.
That's the only one.
That's probably all. But and that's because he's not funny enough.
Don't
to
let
change
me.
the topic.
Don't get. He's gonna lose, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna be up there. It's not gonna be up in the 90s. But when it comes to like comedy, conversation, Andrew is just a.
Just let him finish. Go ahead. Comedy, conversations, Andrew's the superior is what you're saying.
He's superior.
I like how he's like, do I feel this way? Yes.
He's superior.
Okay.
I'm taking him over there. I don't listen to Joe Budden podcast. I do it for this podcast, and I watch it in clips.
Yeah,
but if
me
I'm
too.
watching a full episode or something, it's flagrant. Over WP every time.
And then, like, saying Andrew Schulz is better is not saying Joe Budden is bad.
Of course not.
But as far as, like, what this is, you know, Andrew wrestled when he was younger. He got that edge.
Okay, that's fine.
He has a license.
That's all we're saying.
We weren't saying that you have to be a stand-up, but stand-ups are the best at comedy.
They're not the best at podcasting, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean they automatically become the best at podcasting.
Stand-ups aren't the best.
When you're good at podcasting and you have that license to be funny,
but listen,
it's gone.
Funny takes shapes, bro. It takes different shapes and forms. It's like fucking water.
Yeah.
The best stand-up comedians are not the niggas on Instagram. That's a different form of funny. Podcasting changes the form of funny.
But why
it's long form funny that isn't just stand-up.
The best
it takes more.
stand-ups aren't on Instagram.
No.
That's what you just said.
No,
But
he
guess
said,
who just
I'm
sold
talking
out?
about like
But I get
ahead.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
The best stand-up is on a stage somewhere doing stand-up. But Matt Rife, who's the best TikTok comedian, just sold out a world tour over 100 shows in 10 fucking days.
Yeah.
So
It's not all
what
the
are
same.
we talking
He's not
about?
right
Different. There's different ways that comedy evolves.
Right.
Like, it's not the same
Just
thing
because-
every
Sure.
time.
But
the
is he
highest
the funniest?
Just
The
because you
highest form
no.
of comedy is getting on a stage and having people pay to make them giggle.
And that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about podcasting.
But why are we
Exactly.
acting like?
Exactly. Yeah.
But
And
why are
I'm
we?
saying that comedy enhances podcasts, and the best niggas at comedy are stand-up comedians.
I'm saying a
And
comedy
just-
podcast is different than a stand-up, and being a
Yes.
podcast, and it changes the way you have to deliver
Oh, for
things.
sure.
It changes the
what
listenability.
stand-up comedian
No.
that's relevant
No.
today doesn't have a podcast?
It does change the way you think because it's different.
It's different.
But
All of them have podcasts.
it doesn't
We don't
change.
listen to all of
But
them.
it doesn't change. You don't listen
You
to them.
don't
you
listen
nigga.
to all of them. That's what we keep trying to tell you niggas.
You don't either.
I do. Tim did. I said him. I said him.
You named it,
I
nigga.
named him. I name dropped it.
Okay,
Go check him out.
Okay, so
LOI2 Wednesdays at 6.
that was a good one. So so we'll just end it here.
Wait,
How about
I
Ruff?
do have
Y'all-
to say Schulz though. Schulz is in a.
You better not
Like-
say what we've been saying this whole time.
Niggas better not forget. This is his sophomore album, so he's in a period where we're gonna find out where he actually lands. Because I fuck with
Oh,
him,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
this is his
Okay.
sophomore album.
And
It
let's
is,
not-
but every day of the week he's gonna be funnier than Joe Budden.
We're gonna find out because
Every day of the week he's funnier
he's
than Joe
either gonna
Budden.
go up or go down with his next special.
We
That's all
gonna
I'm saying.
find out.
But Joe Budden couldn't make a special.
No,
We're
he
not talking
can't.
about that.
We're
bro.
talking about podcasting.
Yeah,
You're putting
bro.
too much clout
You're
on the
talking
fucking
about
comedy.
he's talking about his sophomore stand-up.
I'm just saying we're gonna
He
find out
is.
how funny Schulz really is. That's all I was saying to you.
You don't know how funny Schulz really is.
I fuck with him. I do.
I've gone to his shows every time he's come in town.
Yeah, I fuck with
Yes,
him heavy.
I know how
Were
funny
you
he is.
entertained?
Yes,
Yes,
of
nigga,
course.
yes.
But guess what? We're talking about podcasting.
Yeah.
We're not talking about
We're
comedy.
Schulz
Do
fans, bro.
podcasts entertain?
All right, so we know what y'all choices are.
Yeah.
We beat
I
the dead
think-
horse.
Yeah,
No.
I think in terms of that, y'all let us know. Y'all understood what we were trying to, what was happening.
Yeah.
You let us know because let's be very clear again. We said who is the better podcaster, Joe Budden or Andrew Schulz? And this is part 2 because we have had this conversation.
We have had
before.
this conversation before.
It's just it was a
And
different.
we've always chosen Andrew Schulz, right?
I don't remember. I have to
yeah.
link. I actually have to watch it again. I
When
can't
that
remember.
basketball analogy didn't stick, I lost hope for the debate because it's like that's the best way to
I
explain it
already
right
lost.
there.
I lost for the hope when
Like,
you put the
you-
clout on the comedy part.
Exactly.
The
that was
clout on
crazy.
the comedy part. What do you mean?
You're pretty much saying like if you can't. You keep talking about comedy and we're just talking about overall podcasting. A comedian doesn't automatically make you the best podcaster.
Because we're talking about Joe Rogan is a big example
You're
of that.
beating a dead horse with the point. But what the overall shit is that
In short.
comedy is the best catalyst that could
It
possibly
could give you a head start for sure.
nigga.
You
Head
could
start
listen-
is a like
Understatement.
it's an understatement. Like it's
Would you rather listen to a pod? Like if you had to get information from a podcast, right? Like you went into it purposefully for learning facts. Do you want to hear those facts from a boring nigga speaking in a monotone voice who
Unless-
isn't really entertaining, or a nigga who can relay information to you and have you retain it and have it be funny as well?
because what
Which do you choose? If you had two of these options, you had the bland service.
Why would I go to bland service? Why would I ever volunteer for
That's
being?
all we've been trying to say in this argument.
No, it's not.
That's the crux of this
Because you
argument.
damn sure haven't said Joe Budden is bland service.
don't
Well, that's because that's disrespectful to Joe Budden.
Exactly. And we're also talking about just straight up podcasting right now. We're not talking about funniness. We're talking about just the skill of podcasting. That's it.
Nigga. Well,
But that's it. That's it.
Joe Rogan is the biggest.
Yeah, he's the biggest podcast, and niggas ain't going crazy for his stand up comedy. People are, but it's because his podcast is so big.
Exactly.
Wait, make this point again, because I was still trying to get caught up
Joe
on what Lord
Rogan,
was
Joe
doing.
Rogan is like the biggest podcast in the world. Like everybody knows, like the real Podfather or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not going crazy for a Joe Rogan special.
Now, do you think that Joe Rogan has the most entertaining podcast?
now. Can we look up his tickets sold?
Oh, it's ridiculous.
That's crazy.
It's ridiculous. It's
you're right.
redonkulous.
Yeah, ridiculous.
So he's still
Of course, he's still
like insanely famous
We
in all
can
aspects.
say he's not funny, but there's numbers to prove that he is funny to people.
Exactly. I know that.
Further pointing proving the point. Actually,
That's it. That's it.
Of what?
Don't worry
It
about it.
doesn't matter.
But final point:
That a funny nigga has a podcast is
No.
very
if
successful.
Joe was a better podcaster, he would show his numbers.
I don't know about that. I don't know about
almost
that
like our the little thing with yesterday when I told Tony what's your GPA, he did not want to say his GPA.
No, I don't know my GPA because I didn't give a fuck about it.
Same point.
All right, so.
And you still have yet to prove that shit. You have to prove it.
Hey, Wednesdays at 6.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, so